Do you get frustrated that some months where you're hitting massive revenue targets and the next month you're 50% of that, the next month it's okay, the next month's really low, and the next month's really, really good, and when you look at your revenue over 12 months, it resembles a ride at an amusement park? Well, having talked to hundreds of painters around the country, this seems to be a consistent thing that happens. Unpredictable revenue per month. So we have great months, terrible months, great months, terrible months. Now, what I want to cover today is just give you some context of probably why that's happening to you and what you can do to minimize those variations. Because I don't know about you, but having inconsistent cash flow does suck. Now, the reality is, having run my business for a couple of decades, having worked with, like I said, many painting businesses around the country, it usually falls into one of three categories. Hey guys, welcome to the Painter's Circle, where we help painting business owners scale their operations, increase profitability, and gain more time freedom. I'm Taz Mullis, and in this podcast, I'll share actionable tips, expert strategies, and real-world insights that'll help you grow your painting business without burning you out. Ready to take your painting business to the next level? Let's go. Oh yeah! Those three categories are pricing. Your pricing's out. The performance of the team is out. Business performance out. And the last one is your pipeline. So if you're having inconsistent months, if you're super frustrated and annoyed that you can't actually create some predictability in revenue and cash flow in your business, it's going to fall into one of those three categories: pricing, performance, and pipeline. Today, I'm going to cover one that seems to be coming up a lot with certain clients and certain businesses I'm talking to, and that is performance. Now, when I'm talking to business owners and we're talking about the performance, I usually hear this sort of scenario. Hey Taz, I just need to get my guys to work harder. How do I get an extra 5-10% more productivity? Well, rather than just focusing on whipping them and getting them to work harder and quicker and longer and faster, what I found is most business owners, most painting business owners that I talk to this day, still do not have target budget hours on their projects. What do I mean by that? I mean that they haven't allocated the number of hours that those jobs that they're doing should take, and they haven't communicated those hours to the relevant team member on that job site so they know what they're supposed to hit. Now, a lot of business owners, they know that the hours because they quote time and material. So when they quote a job, they go, okay, it's 2 guys, 2 weeks plus materials. So they've worked out 2 guys, 2 weeks, it's 80, 160 hours. But they keep that information to themselves. They don't communicate that to the people on site, particularly the leading hand, the foreman, the supervisor, whatever you want to call it, the person on site. I've seen this hundreds and hundreds of times where that lack of communication, visibility on what's important to the job is held back from the team members. Now, I've also seen unbelievable results by just providing that number to the relevant team. Nothing else has changed. There's been no additional training in performance. There's been no additional work performance. Let's get 5-10% quicker. Let's cut our lunches shorter, all that sort of mumbo jumbo. But actually just communicating the target to that relevant team member. I've seen it in my business happen. So I know I get a lot of pushback saying, Taz, I just don't have time to work out that number and give it to the guys and track the number. If you don't have time to track the most critical number in operational performance, then you are always going to have those inconsistent months. You are always going to have those jobs. Oh, why did it go over budget? Oh, another one over budget. The reason why jobs go over budget, for the most part, and this is just talking to real life business owners, painting business owners today, is because the target is not visible. If you were to drive anywhere and you didn't have a destination in Google Maps or whatever map system you're using, and you just decided to drive, you would get there, but it would probably take longer than normal. This is exactly the same with running your projects. So I'm not saying you don't look for performance improvement in your team, like either employing some spray guns to improve performance or some training. I'm not saying don't do that, but I'm saying if you do those things and you do not provide a target, a fixed number for your team to aim at on projects, you more than likely are hardly going to hit the target, because whatever they can't see, they can't hit. Do you struggle with a plan in your painting business that's fast, clear, and specific? Our game plan builder turns your chaos into a tailored plan. It's built fast, it's built for you, and it's built to move. Check out the show notes for your copy and download it today. The feedback that you get from having the target, so let's put it in a real world situation. You have a job, and the job is 200 hours, okay? And you've got a team of 3 people on that job. So it's 120 hours one week, and then you've got 2 guys the next week to make it 200 hours. So you get 200 hours on that project. If you don't communicate those hours to the job, those hours to that team, or the particular person that's running that team, they will probably do a really great job. But in business, the commercial reality is we have to perform our services, whatever we're doing, within a time frame. So the boundaries are going to be the time allowed. If we don't communicate the time allowed, there's no boundaries. They're arbitrary. Now, as you're doing this, if you've never done this before, it's going to feel really difficult in communicating these target budget hours to your team and holding them accountable, because someone needs to track that data. But if you don't do it, you will have inconsistencies. If you do it, although you may still have some inconsistencies, you will know how far off target you are. So go back to that analogy that you have a project, a team of 3, 200 hours. Let's say they do it in 220 hours. So it's 10% over the allowable time. So now you know, and this team knows that they went 10% over that job. Guess what you do now? You review the job. And you review the job with the team in real time and say, how could we do this better next time? And over time, you are going to want to bring that average 10%, back to 5%, 3%, 2%, 0%, where they're consistently hitting that target hours. Now, a lot of businesses, they don't hit it the first time, and then they crack it and say it doesn't work. Well, the unicorn is you get it done the first time. And the reality is, if you've never done this before, if you've never actually communicated target budget hours to your team, if you've never actually tracked it and given them feedback of where they are, an example would be you have the 200-hour job, 3 guys, first week, they're 120 hours in. It would be fair to say, as a business owner, I would like to know at the end of that week, have we completed 60% of that job? Because if you go to that job site with your foreman and they are at 40% completed or 30% completed, but allocated 120 hours, guess what? You have an indication at that point in time how far off you are. And what can you do? You can correct. But most businesses don't track that point in time, and they get to the end of the job and they get to a week later and they do the numbers and they go, wow, it took us 220 hours. I wish I'd have known that before. That is the importance of having a target and measuring against it. It's no different if you're just driving a car. You're driving a car, the speedo is 60 k's an hour, you've got your foot down, you get to 60 and you sit in that pace. But you don't know where you're at without looking at the result of the speedo on the car. Now, you know the target's 60. How far you're off depends on how fast you're going. So in your business, your hours on the job is your indicator on how fast you're going. So I don't want to overcomplicate this, right? When you quote a job and when you win a job, as a business owner, more than likely, you already know how many hours or days. There's going to be a time. You measure in your measurement, but I 100% believe most painting business owners they're quoting have a rough estimate of hours or days. Either way is fine. So communicating that to the relevant people on your team is the next step, Because if you do not give them something to aim at, guess what they're going to hit? Nothing. They're going to hit whatever they hit. So if you are frustrated and tired and just cannot understand why jobs go over, jobs go under, have massive months, have low months, the critical factor in performance management is first to have a target. So that's one of the 3 Ps. Your feedback loop between your team and you in real time, whether it be daily, weekly, monthly, whatever happens to be, is the thing that you want to improve. Because over time, if you're running multiple teams with multiple projects and they all have different target budget hours, and secondly, you're tracking the actual hours on each of those jobs, then you will have a snapshot at whatever interval you're measuring, whether it be daily, weekly, or fortnightly or monthly, where every project is at that time. Because you know how many hours are allocated, you know how many hours have been done on that job, and guess what? You will know by viewing the job what percentage is done. That is the simplest way to improve performance. The highest level is provide the team the target. Now, there's other layers as well, but without the target, the rest of it's just noise. Because even if you went from traditional brush and roll and started doing spray work, your performance probably would improve, but it would probably improve quicker if you actually had a target, because now your target will probably be less because you've allowed for this application method. So if you're frustrated with inconsistent months, jobs going off target, jobs running over time, think about performance and think about the first level of performance is how can you improve performance when you don't actually track what performance is measured with? And for us, it's hours or days. It's a time measurement. We've already had the price and quote. Now we have to have the constraint of a time, put them together, and that is how we stay on track. Anyway, got any questions, hit me up. Otherwise, stay cool, be well, as usual. See you on the interwebs. Bye-bye. Hey guys, if you got value from today's episode, make sure to subscribe so you never miss expert tips. If you want some support, check out the link in the show notes and see how we can help you. Don't forget to follow us on socials @PainterCoach. Stay cool, be well, and as usual, see you on the interwebs. Bye.